On Friday afternoon, President Trump signed an executive order banning immigration and travel from these 7 countries: Iran, Iraq, Syria, Sudan, Libya, Yemen, and Somalia. This is not a ban on all Muslim immigration. Out of the 1.6 billion Muslims on the planet, only 140 million live in these countries alone. These countries are at war with themselves, their government, and with radical Islam in the form of ISIS. There is no reason to be accepting refugees from these areas when time and time again, the radical Muslims have snuck through the vetting process and have come here to the United States to commit acts of terrorism. Look what Kim Kardashian tweeted to continue spreading the false narrative and mass hysteria created by the mainstream media. How convenient of her to find these statistics that only show data from 2005 to 2014, where we practically let in next to 0 refugees from war-torn countries like Syria. And do you want to know why? Because Barack Obama did the same exact thing in 2011 when he banned all immigration and travel with Iraq, a predominantly Muslim country. Where was all the crying and all of the protests then? Oh, that's right. It was hardly covered by the media because it didn't fit their agenda. And now when Donald Trump does the same thing, all the media tries to do is turn the country against him. These statistics also leave out the San Bernardino shooting in 2015 and all of the other terrorist attacks since then, including the Orlando nightclub shootings last year. In 2015 alone, there were 38 instances of terrorism here in the US, resulting in 44 deaths and 32 injuries, all happening after the statistics that Kim Kardashian tweeted. And in 2016, we saw 14 instances, resulting in 66 deaths and 121 injuries. This problem is only growing worse as we allow more refugees to come into the country. According to the Office of Refuge and Resettlement, the United States has only let in 14,333 Syrian refugees since 2012, a fraction of the amount that Turkey, Germany, and other European countries have in the same time. And those countries are doing so well nowadays, aren't they? Wrong! These countries are ridden with violence and have seen increased numbers of crime across the board, be that rape, homicide, burglary, or the many other regressive acts we see today. The radical jihadists in these countries detest the Western culture and believe that all those who oppose Islam should be killed in the name of their God. Throughout the Quran, we find commands like these to kill all of those who are not believers, and that death is better than not believing in the teachings of Muhammad, a known rapist and terrorist. Yes, it is unfair to paint all Muslims and refugees as bad, but until we can learn to properly vet and separate those with bad intentions from those just seeking refuge and the opportunity at a better life in the Western culture, we cannot put the lives of Americans at risk. The purpose of our government is to put the natural rights of its citizens first and not to succumb to the will of the rich and famous, just because it makes them feel good about themselves. But if you really want to put the blame on someone else and protest your feelings, look no further than Saudi Arabia, a country that has 100,000 air-conditioned tents that could hold 3 million refugees just sitting there empty. And if you're also under the impression that Muslim support for ISIS is remarkably low, then you'd be wrong, because 21% of Syrian refugees hold favorable views of ISIS, which adds up to 570,000 people. Don't you think with that amount of unpredictable supporters that we should be more careful of letting people immigrate from these countries? Or we could just ignore the problem like the media wants us to and end up like Germany, which is a prospering country, right? We need to stop protesting and crying on the streets, and we need to start ignoring the regressive agenda of the mainstream media. It's time to wake up, America, and realize that the establishment doesn't care about you. All they care about is pushing their own agendas.